This might be one of the strangest toy trains and one of the most obscure pieces of SpongeBob SquarePants memorabilia ever created. Hi everybody, I'm John, this is Retro Mikado's Trains, and from 2004, this is the Rail King Bikini Bottom Express. It's no secret that I love SpongeBob SquarePants. This show was my childhood. The golden age of the cartoon lasted from 1999 until 2004 when the movie was released. During that time, the showrunners produced 3 hilarious, beautiful, funny seasons, and tons of merchandise to go along with the show. But today, we're going to be looking at what might be just the strangest piece that they ever licensed out. Now, they would put SpongeBob on everything, from alarm clocks to beach balls, slippers, you name it, even toothpaste. If it would sell, it had SpongeBob on it. This is probably one of the most creative things I think that they ever thought of for the show. This was made in 2004 by a company called MTH under their Rail King line. They were based out of Columbia, Maryland, and are still around producing toy trains. One of their golden ages as well was during the early 2000s. They've made some of the strongest and sturdiest trains that have ever been seen on the O-scale market. This, however, is one of my absolute favorite pieces that they made. This train, which consisted of a locomotive and 3 freight cars, in addition to 3 add-on cars that you could buy separately, was available for a few years, but wasn't that popular when it came out, and these sets are actually quite rare now. They command a decent premium, and the add-on cars, if you want them as well, will also drive up that price. Being made by MTH Rail King, this is one of the sturdiest toy trains that you'll ever see on the market. The locomotive in this set is modeled after a Baltimore, Ohio Baldwin-built Docksider 040 C16 class tank engine. It's funny that they chose this locomotive for SpongeBob because, as a dockside tank engine, it would have worked in close proximity to harbors and open water, so whether that was by choice or not, I thought it was a really good idea to do so. Nice little tongue-in-cheek joke.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Everything about the engine is sturdy. It has a impossible-to-break die-cast frame and shell, so despite its small size, it actually pulls quite well. It features a smoke unit, working headlight, and 4 very cute little drive wheels that have a cool little waddle look as it runs along. Now, I will say, one thing that these little Rail King 040 Docksiders are notorious for is that they are quite noisy when they run. So if you get one of these sets, prepare for this little engine to make quite a bit of noise. Not from the motor, but because these engines have no traction tires on their wheels, they actually have little grooves horizontal to the rails on the wheels that are milled in. I actually took time to take these off my engine using a Dremel and a powered running board. So now be careful if you're going to do that. You need to know what you're doing and go very slowly. But it improves these engines a lot, and they can still pull quite a heavy train if you get one. Also included in the set were a tank car featuring Squidward.
How original.
A refrigerated boxcar featuring SpongeBob in his captain's hat and Gary.
There I am, Gary, there I am!
And a bay window caboose at the rear, featuring the lovable but idiotic Patrick Star.
Who you calling pig?
And this car comes with another neat feature in that it has a speaker on the bottom and actually plays, in horrible quality sound, the SpongeBob SquarePants theme song. So that's the whistle on the train, so to speak. The other cars that you could buy separate sale were also really fun and added some diversity and some color to the product. As you can see, the locomotive stands out as a beautiful yellow piece, and the freight cars that are included in the set all have this nice teal blue with a dark blue roof, which matches the undercarriage on the locomotive itself. The freight cars that they chose to go with it, though, are finished in a pair of darker blues mixed with a lighter blue roof, apart from the Christmas boxcar, which we'll get to at the end. The first car that was made to go along with the set was one of MTH Train's operating aquarium cars. Now, this, if for those of you who are unfamiliar, this is a really cool car in that it actually has a moving background inside the car over this wave effect glass that gives the cool illusion that you are watching sea creatures in a tank of water moving around, and inside the car, as you can see, are SpongeBob, Patrick, and Sandy having fun, but also SpongeBob getting stung by a jellyfish. The second car might look like a normal boxcar, but it's actually a really interesting piece. As you can see, it has pickup rollers and actually features a little SpongeBob figure that comes out wearing a pair of railroad gloves and shines a red lantern toward the engineer, signaling for him to proceed ahead.
Look, Gary, there I am again! Look!
And features Sandy and Mr. Krabs on the side as well. It's nice to get some other representation of the characters there. Last but not least is one of the simplest cars in the train, but believe it or not, this is actually the rarest car out of the entire line. Now, this is the Christmas boxcar. Now, it's just a normal boxcar, but it's such a cool piece in that they decided to do... I mean, Christmas and toy trains obviously go hand in hand. That's a given. Everybody knows having a train under the Christmas tree. But the fact that they chose to not only do a really good SpongeBob Christmas car, but then chose to break the design of the set and go for this awesome red, green, and white that somehow really works with the rest of the train. It's a great breakup. The way that I put the train together, this car actually goes right in the middle and forms this awesome look to the train while still keeping the overall tone, and has SpongeBob and Patrick in there dressed up as a tree and Santa respectively. What's crazy about the Christmas car is it actually costs about the same price as the other two operating cars, which always carry a bit of a premium, and it's just a regular car, so that should tell you how hard to find that piece is. One of my absolute favorite things about this set is that every piece reminds us of the creator, Steven Hillenburg, by having a sticker on there that they made up especially for this set. Those are actual MTH quality control stickers on the pieces themselves, and every single car has one right there on the engine chassis, and each car has one as well. So the fact that they did that really, really speaks volumes about the type of work that MTH used to do and still does. They're a very good company. They're not out of business, by the way, and everybody there has done a very good job over the years in producing really nice, high-quality toy trains. Now, whenever I see a SpongeBob collection, either in photos or on film, I often see that this set is absent, and I don't think a lot of SpongeBob collectors actually know about this set. If I'm wrong, please let me know in the comments below if you're a SpongeBob fan and you have this train. When these were produced, MTH Rail King actually produced two different trains. This is what I call the starter set. Now, that included a transformer, track, the 3-car and locomotive basic set, and then the 3 add-on cars that you could buy separately. But in addition to that, they also made what I call the art train, which featured their higher-end line of freight cars, and really just had a lot of stock art and poses and a larger locomotive that all went together separately and formed more of an abstract piece. Those cars are all equally hard to find and scarce as well, but I've never seen anyone put that train together either. Those pieces are pretty uncommon. This, however, is the complete set for the starter lineup. 6 cars and the locomotive. That's everything that you need to complete this set. Now, another cool thing about this is the box artwork. Obviously, a company like Paramount was not going to let their flagship show suffer at the hands of bad graphic design. And this set blossoms as a result of it. It's decked out in the Rail King logo, as you can see on the lower corner here, but also features a giant Nickelodeon logo here, a gorgeous photo of the train with features describing its sound effects, SpongeBob in the corner here looking like his jovial self, and the classic and much missed original logo from SpongeBob. This is so cool, and it just brings me back to being a kid seeing that oval with the words in there like that. I absolutely just love this set. It's such a cool piece of design. It's very 2000s looking, but that's when I grew up, so this brings me right back to being a kid. I actually never got this set as a kid. I only found out about it much later when I was maybe, 10 or 12 years old, and I wanted one immediately. But they're actually quite hard to find, as I've said, and I didn't get one until just recently. it was almost brand new when I got it. Mostly these sets, when you do find them, if you don't find them brand new, they're usually pretty well used and can be quite beat up when you get them, which is a shame because they are such lookers and they are really, really eye-popping to have on a shelf. Now, most sets, when I see them, I never see them complete. I never see them with the correct add-on cars, or if it is, it's maybe one or two. Never all three altogether. But this is a really, really interesting piece to have in your collection if you are a collector of just obscure trains. If you're a SpongeBob collector, this could be one of the centerpieces of your collection if you've got a large, I collect everything SpongeBob collection. Such as with all SpongeBob merchandise, the boxes for these pieces include fun little Nick knowledge facts that tell you interesting things about the characters and the production of the shows. I really like that they added this on here, and it helps tie in all the merchandise together with other pieces.
Isn't there anything on that isn't about boxes?
MTH trains were masters of the craft of making really nice, coherent sets that matched. Even when they made add-on pieces, everything would coordinate somehow, whether it was the colors or the trucks that were used or just the overall quality of art was always really, really nice. And that's something that should be said of MTH, that they did their homework on this and really made it into something that looked like it could be from the world that it represents. And that's one of the best things that a product like this can do for its consumer, is to give them that fun blending of the fact that this is so absurd as a SpongeBob product. It is an electric train. Like, of all the things you could think to put SpongeBob on, a train is probably one of the last things that you would think to put it on. And yet somehow they made this work. It's like a good writer, how they can make any story work, even if it's the most absurd concept and the strangest plot. If they do it well, they can make it work. And that's exactly what this set here represents. It's good, well thought out marketing and good design and good overall architecture and knowing your audience and your brand. That's so important when you're making a product as strange as this, and you making it work is quite an impressive feat. MTH was known for their interesting license deals that they had. They had Mars Candy and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and many, many others that were not exactly what you might think of first when it comes to toy trains, but out of all their branding, I think this might have been the most interesting one because it's one of those crossover collectibles. It appeals to both SpongeBob collectors, like me, and train lovers, also like me. And if you're like me, and I know I am, this is the perfect kind of set for you to have. I absolutely adore this set. The fact that it's in such good condition is really, really nice. I just enjoy seeing this up on a shelf. It's such a different, fun piece to have. It's not the colors you'd ever normally see on a toy train. It's just a fun, really cool piece. I'm just almost at a loss for words talking about it. It's just a really, really fun piece to have and reminds me so much of childhood. I'm almost glad that I didn't get this as a kid because I appreciate it so much more now as an adult who can remember and look back on this. Because, you know, when you're a kid, you don't always appreciate the things that you have. You think it's cool, but you might not fully appreciate what it represents and just how it makes you feel. So, as an adult who's seen how SpongeBob has gone on and just how kids media is in general now, I really appreciate this era of toy production and just the branding in general, how this aligns with the show. This came right in at the end of the golden age of SpongeBob, and the fact that they put so much effort and work into it, even if you go on the website describing this train set, it's such a fun description of the product and what they went through and talking about how all the different characters and everything. It's such a good piece, and it really speaks volumes about the company and just what SpongeBob used to be and why people like me still love it. So I think that's going to end our discussion today on the SpongeBob SquarePants Rail King Bikini Bottom Express train set. If you don't have one and you're a SpongeBob fan or a model train fan who doesn't mind having something a little strange or interesting in your collection, this is one of the best pieces you can find. Kids love it. You'll see these running at train shows occasionally. They'll always stand out in a crowd. And it just gives you something a little different if you don't like any of the other, older brands or anything like that. It just gives you a fun, different 2000s vibe that is just really like nothing else that's ever been done before by any train company. I think that about wraps it up for our video today. As always, I have been John and/or Retro Mikado. You have been my audience, and thank you as always for being a part of this channel here. I love talking to you all about these strange pieces in the hobby and just what I think about them and just the overall nonsense that I just think of in my head when it comes to these interesting, fun, weird toy train pieces and collectibles that I have such nostalgia for. As always, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and tell me what you think of this set down in the comments below. Love it or hate it, you gotta admit, this is definitely not your average toy train set and/or SpongeBob collectible. Thank you so much, and have a great day.
That's it? That's the episode? That was just cheap!
What a rip!